Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having Aries on the ninth house cusp in a natal chart. Now, since the ninth house is connected with philosophy, well, first thing I look at is with this position is that Aries, this position can be very perhaps pioneering, really can also be can be somewhat combative in matters connected with their philosophies. There might be perhaps kind of an egocentric outlook and kind of like this is my belief is correct and that's basically it. At the same time, because this person could be so kind of active in this area, they may be open to others' philosophies, but at times it may seem like it's their own opinion is the only one maybe that counts. Another thing too is someone that figured prominently in my life many years ago. I don't know what his rising sign was, but he would have likely had Aries on the ninth house cusp in his natal chart. And as far as like matters like with religion went, it would seem like he had his one track mind, I guess, very single-minded as far as that goes. And he said something like, well, Catholic religion is the best religion, and that was basically it. And there was no subordinates or any reason to really validate his point. He just said that, and that was basically very matter of fact, and that's it. But this person can also defend strongly their principles, I would say, with this position. Now, the ninth house also is associated with traveling abroad. It's long distance travel, so I believe it's mainly when you're traveling out of country is what it's pertaining to. And on the negative side, since Aries is kind of that quarrelsome, combative sign, there may be some contentious experiences, perhaps in foreign travel, maybe some acrimonious experiences, maybe some quarreling or some arguing. And also Aries can be very impulsive and impetuous. So this is something where this person needs to maybe think before maybe they go out and travel to such and such place and just make sure it's the right place for that person to go and the right move at the time, so to speak. Now, looking at this as well, now the ninth house is also associated with higher education. Now, perhaps this person, after their high school period, maybe they may take a course in law enforcement, something with police work. Perhaps this person becomes, in some instances, a volunteer firefighter. In some, I guess, maybe in isolated cases, perhaps this person takes perhaps some courses that are connected with metals. It could be something with construction or masonry or something associated with this. Something they may even in some instances, maybe this person even becomes a college athlete because Aries is ruled by Mars. Ninth house is connected with higher education. And Mars is about competition. It's about being competitive. And I think you could see this competitive zeal as far as these matters go. Now, it could also indicate somebody that shows enterprise and initiative in matters connected with higher education, but having the impatience that correlates with this sign, this person may need just to make sure that they follow through and have the persistence to follow up on whatever courses they start. It might not always be good to take on too many courses simultaneously and just kind of try to embark on one field at a time. Now, the ninth house also is associated with publishing, and perhaps this person at one point in time, if they decide to do anything connected with publication, maybe they publish perhaps maybe books that are associated perhaps with being leadership characteristics and about being a leader, maybe something connected with management, perhaps something even associated with sports, because that has to do with the competitive thing with Mars and Aries. Uh, Perhaps maybe something about things that are connected with combat, with the military, about soldiers, about wars, things that are militant. There might even be something connected with maybe violence. Not that this person is going to be violent necessarily, but things that might have maybe a violent aura or tinge to it, something about some volatile experience or experiences. Maybe books about martial arts, about hand-to-hand combat, something with boxing, even something that has to do with competition, and perhaps sports as well, which might incorporate the two. So those are some things to look at. And also, the ninth house is also associated with our in-laws, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have an in-law that has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Aries, though it's possible this may happen, but more that the general situation with the in-laws can be, sometimes might be somewhat acrimonious, might be somewhat contentious, but also this person might show the outspokenness and fearless in matters connected with their in-laws, and maybe those are some things to consider in the matters as far as the in-laws go. And the in-laws themselves might have like kind of a courageous and fearless, enterprising way about them, or at least how this person perceives them. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having Aries on the 9th house cusp in a natal chart. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about having Taurus on the 9th house cusp in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.